All right, let's do Q&A. I received a promotion that I worked hard for. I was overworked before I got it, and now the work has piled on even more to the point I'm losing my spark, feeling unmotivated and not working to my best potential. I want to be the person I was before the promotion. How do I get it back? Oh, I know how this feels. I think I just called this like 3 minutes ago, head down and blinders on. So I get it. One, congratulations on your promotion. I think promotions come with responsibilities. They come with opportunities, obviously, and it comes with visibility, right? You're in control of more things. More people are reporting to you. More people are looking to you to accomplish tasks. And people are starting to look to you to do different things than you were before you were promoted. I think one of the hardest things about being promoted is when you are promoted, it is in some ways a different job. And you've got to think about your job differently versus having the same job with a better title. And honestly, I think a lot of people get lost in thinking that a promotion is just more pay and a better title for the same job. The people who really are set up to win think about a promotion as a new level of responsibility, new level of opportunity, new level of visibility, like we just mentioned, but also that this is a new job. You're responsible for more vision. You're responsible for other people's performance, not just your own. You're responsible for a very specific contribution to the business. So I think what I would do in your shoes, and this is what I tend to do when I'm overwhelmed, is take a look at your day, write down your day, put in 3 buckets. First bucket, what fills you up? What gives you that spark? What makes you so excited about your job? And also be honest about what percentage of your day is spent to that thing. Then bucket number 2 is, what are you good at? What are you able to get done, but it doesn't give you the spark? You're like, I'm good at this, but it doesn't necessarily fill me up or empty me out. Like, I just do it. I'm good at it. It's fine. And what percentage of your day do you spend on that? And then bucket number 3 is, what do you fucking hate, or what are you really bad at? And how much time do you spend on that? Once you write down that picture or create that picture for yourself, you'll understand why you're losing your spark. You may be spending your time on stuff you're not good at, or things that drain your energy versus spending time on the things that either you're good at or give you spark. And then I think you need to think about, what's the system that you're going to create for yourself that preserves your own personal time. Maybe you leave the office every day at 5 o'clock. Maybe you schedule in a workout during lunch. Maybe you make sure you go out with your friends once a week. Whatever it is that gives you that energy and spark in the rest of your life, make sure your work doesn't eat into that time. I think one of the hardest things when there's so much to do and there's so much on you is, I don't know about you guys, but I at least am like, I won't work out because I have so much work to do. Or sure, I'll do another conference call instead of having dinner with a friend. Like, I let the work take over the stuff in my life, and that's a really bad habit. So the way I try to manage it is with my calendar, because if I protect the time in my calendar, I'll protect the time at work and in my life. So maybe you think about doing that as well, so that you keep your spark at large open. And then talk to your manager, talk to your mentor, talk to your boss, talk to someone you trust about the buckets of things that give you spark, you're great at, that fill you up with energy, the things that you're doing that you're good at, but you're kind of indifferent to, and then really specifically the things you're not good at that are draining you, and brainstorm ways that you can create solutions to fix them. Second question, what do you do when you and a colleague clearly have different opinions on strategy? It's so bad it affects our communication style. My boss encourages me to raise my voice and share my thoughts, whereas my colleague is so quick to shut me down and go as far as to explain why his view is right. I'm only 6 months in versus he's been there for 3+ years, so he certainly has a leg to stand on. But it's extremely frustrating when I know I'm right and he says he's open to my opinion, but clearly isn't, because every time he shuts them down. This is like so frustrating. I get this. I see this all the time. We have people here like this. I find myself in situations like this, honestly, on both sides of the table. So I was oddly talking to my dad about this weekend, where my dad was telling me that when you have people in a company who aren't on the same team, who don't feel like a team, who don't act like a team, who don't do the things that teams do, and most of those issues stem from trust issues, that you've got to really focus on where you have common interest. And he's like, my dad's advice was, if you can make people feel that they have a common interest. And if you can help them believe they have a common interest and see that common interest, it's easier to get people to come together, get aligned, work on things in partnership, and facilitate trust. So that's one piece of advice I guess I would pass on in this regard is take a step back and think about what is it that you and your colleague have in common? What is it that you share? Maybe you value the same things. Maybe you have the same end goal, but find those things that are common. And try to build communication based on those things that you share versus the things that you feel differently about. The second piece of advice I would give on this is something Tim and Marianne gave us at our offsite last week. But the example they used was they used an analogy in healthcare. And what they were talking about is, hey, when there was a new healthcare campus opening up for a hospital. And the question they posed was, what are the criteria to decide what group should move to the new hospital campus, right? So like nothing to do with media, nothing to do with Barstool Sports, but basically the idea is there's something new that's opened up. Who should be on the new campus? And we were very diligent. We answered the question the right way. Oh, you have to think about money. You have to think about patients. You have to think about cost. You have to think about priorities, blah, blah, blah. And then what Tim and Marianne said was wrong. Yes, those are things everyone thinks about. But what people are really thinking about is, what does it mean for me? What's it mean for my commute? What does it mean for me needing to drop my kids off at daycare? What does it mean for my day-to-day work life? Can I still go to my favorite lunch spot? Can I still get coffee at my favorite cafe? And what they called it was the 94%. And what they said was that 94% of anyone's reaction to anything has to do about how they feel about it personally. So the other thing I might try here is the 94%. What Tim and Marianne's advice was to find out what people's 94% is. So when you're in conflict with someone, or when you're being combative with someone, or they're being combative with you, take a step back. Try to understand what's motivating the person. Try to understand who they are and where they're coming from. Take a step back and understand more about the person versus fighting the symptom, versus fighting, on the surface level of whatever the problem may be. And I think both of those tactics could really help you. I also think you should be really strong. You should be a good listener. You should be a good partner and a good colleague, but you should also stand up for what you believe in. And that, sure, you may be 6 months in and he may be 3 years in, and he may know more about how it's done than you do, but you also know a fair amount in your own right. So don't get shut down just because someone's been there longer. One of the things that we're struggling with here is we have people who've been here for 4 years, and we have people who've been here for 4 months. And yeah, the 4-year people know a lot, but the 4-month people know a lot too. And we've got to put those two things together to find out how we do things in the future, which isn't going to be exactly how we've done them for 4 years. And it isn't going to be the way the 4-month people used to do them. It's going to be some new way that we create together. So don't sell yourself short in having less experience in this job than another person, but really try to find your common interest and try to understand where they're coming from. And hopefully that will help you navigate through. All right. Third question. What's your advice on making a move to a different company in this economy? Do you think it's better to stick it out at the company you're not happy at? I think if you're not happy in your job, you should leave. So I don't think you should think about the economy. I don't think you should think about much else besides your own happiness and finding a place where you feel that you can thrive. Certainly the economy is a consideration. I was just reading on the train this morning. I was like, David Zaslav is like, it's a bloodbath in the ad market. If I was a person right now working in advertising, I would be like, oh God, this is like a little bit of a tumultuous or tricky or potentially hard time. That said, that is no reason to stay put. What it is a reason to do is to be super thoughtful about the choice you make and the place you decide to go to. I think it's always best to run to something versus away from something. So don't don't just quit or don't just take willy-nilly whatever first job comes along. Go find the right job to make you happy. Be cognizant of what's happening in the economy, what's happening in your sector, what's happening at that company in particular. But if you're unhappy in your job, you shouldn't stay in your job, period. And it doesn't matter what's happening around with anyone really but you to make that decision.